Lola Dennis of Sylacauga died overnight. Curtis and Son Funeral Home will announce the arrangements for Ms. Lola Dennis of Sylacauga. Memorial service for Misty Williams McVeigh, age 50 of Weguffka, will be Friday at 4 p.m. from Radley Smith Funeral Home Chapel, with Brother Bobby McVeigh officiating. Mrs. McVeigh died September 19th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Visitation is Friday from 3 until 4 o'clock at the funeral home, Radley Smith Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Celebration of life for Mrs. Sharon Denise Silman, age 35, is Friday at 11 o'clock from Community Funeral Home Chapel in Sylacauga. Interment in the Lily Roden Enon Baptist Church Cemetery in Childersburg. Visitation is today, 1 until 7 at the funeral home. Mask is required for all attending the services. And Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga in charge of the arrangements. Mr. Ralph Rabbit Creighton Jr. Died September 19th. Graveside service is 11 o'clock on Saturday at Shady Grove Baptist Church Cemetery. Visitation is Friday from 5 until 7. Armours Memorial Funeral Home, Alexander City, directing. Private funeral service for Mr. James John Meadows will be held at Wright's Funeral Home Chapel in Alexander City. Graveside service for Mr. Terry Glenn Falk, age 58 of Alexander City, is today at 11 o'clock from Hillview Memorial Park. Mr. Falk died September 20th at Russell Medical Center. He was a member of the Mount Zion Baptist Church. Radley Funeral Home in charge of the arrangements. Funeral service for Mary Oden is 1 o'clock today at Community Funeral Home Chapel in Sylacauga, with burial in the Harper Springs Baptist Church Cemetery. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. John Tiggins, age 84 of Auburn, died Monday at Sylacauga Health and Rehab. There will be no service per John's request. Fond memories and expressions of sympathy may be shared at CurtisandSonFH.com for the Tiggins family. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Martha J. Finn, age 65 of Sylacauga. Visitation is today at 12 o'clock, 12 to 2 at Curtis and Son Childersburg Chapel. A memorial service will follow at 2 at Curtis and Son Childersburg. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing that service. Carla Young Smith, age 64 of Childersburg, died Monday. Visitation will be Saturday from 11 a.m. until noon at Alpine Baptist Church. Funeral service will follow at noon at the church, and a burial in the Alpine Baptist Church Cemetery. The family is receiving flowers. Our contribution to Carla's memory may be made to the Alpine Baptist Church. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Ongoing celebration remembering the life of Mrs. Christine Calhoun Hatcher is today at 11 a.m. from Kingston Chapel Congregational Church, with the Reverend Dr. Henry L. McGee officiating. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory in Talladega in charge of the arrangements. Funeral service for Laura Frances Brown, age 81 of Sylacauga, is today at 10 a.m. from Oak Grove United Methodist Church, with the Reverend Quentin Lockman and the Reverend Carolyn Goza officiating. Burial in the Alabama National Cemetery in Montevallo. Visitation was last night. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga in charge of the arrangements. Byron Saffold, age 33, died Sunday at Coosa Valley Medical Center. A memorial service will be announced at a later date by the family. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga in charge of the arrangements. Visitation for Clyde Henderson. That visitation will be today from 5 till 8 at Curtis and Son North, with a funeral service at 11 a.m. on Friday. Burial in the Tallahatchie Cemetery in Alpine. Online condolences at CurtisandSonFH.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing that service. A memorial service for Shirley Jennings will be September the 25th at 2 p.m. at Weguffka Family Worship Center. Curtis and Son Funeral Home in charge of the arrangements. That is a look at obituaries this morning, brought to you by Curtis and Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. For pre-need funerals, burials, or cremations since 1975, Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.